I want everyone to think of someone they consider a role model. Who is that person? Are they a family member? Close friend? What does that person bring into your life? How have they changed you as a person? For me as a senior, this year has been full of reflection. Reflection of my life up until this point, the moments that have changed my perspective, the themes of my last 18 years on this earth, but most notably, the people who have made me the person I am today. I've been lucky enough to have spent my adolescence surrounded by amazing female role models. I think it's safe to say that every person in this room has had a role model at some point. Someone who possesses something you strive for, whether it's a life goal, career goal, attribute, or quality. These people encourage us to become better versions of ourselves and provide an example of how to do it. Having these people around us is important always, but especially during adolescence. The purpose of my independent trimester was to explore the importance of female role models, both in my own life and in general. Making girls feel confident in their abilities and futures begins with making them feel loved, supported, and inspired. It's especially important during adolescence, and most crucially with the people they're surrounded with on a regular basis. Having consistent female role models and mentors can give girls an extra advantage in the future. Female mentors inspire through example, provide support and a sense of belonging throughout a girl's life, and during adolescence, non-family mentors take on an even more important role in helping girls feel inspired to reach their fullest potentials. One of the most effective ways to inspire girls is through example. It's been proven that girls are more likely to believe in themselves if they can see someone they relate to doing something as well. In my life, I've been lucky enough to be surrounded by wonderful examples of what it means to be a strong and successful woman. So for my project, I wanted to explore the impact those people have had on my life. I began by identifying who those people were. My grandmothers, my mom, my godmother. Each of these people brings something different to my life that has been individually crucial in shaping my adolescence, and each of these women embody different traits or qualities that I'd like to see in myself. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people are most likely to compare themselves to another person if they can see qualities or aspirations of their own in them. This is important because it demonstrates why real-life female role models are necessary. If girls have someone in their lives whose traits or qualities they hope to embody themselves, they feel more motivated and encouraged to work towards obtaining those things. So my next step was to identify exactly what those qualities were that I admired so much in my role models. Moo, my paternal grandmother. Moo is the matriarch of our family, and her life story is beyond incredible. She has shown me what it truly means to live. I've always been in awe of her competence, independence, and spontaneity. She has shown me that change is an important part of life and that family matters more than anything. Bibi, my maternal grandmother. Bibi has been a constant in my life. We spend most of the year together, and as her first grandchild, we have an especially unique bond. She's shown me the importance of keeping your family close and the significance of tradition. My mom. I don't think there's a single person who has been as influential in my life as my mom. I can never pick out certain values she's given me because she's given me all of them. She's been there throughout every phase of life. She's shown me how to listen to people and how to laugh at myself. She represents competence, confidence, and the power of love. My fairy godmother, Stephanie. In my life, Stephanie represents the other. She's a maternal figure, a fairy godmother, and a friend. She's taught me the importance of genuine kindness and, through example, the power of generosity. Our relationship is unique because Stephanie has been incredibly influential in my life, even though she isn't a family member. In my life, Stephanie embodies generosity and kindness. As amazing as each of these women are, they each possess dramatically different traits, and they each play a significantly different role in my life. In the intermediate phases of adolescence, the brains of girls are going through their final stages of myelination. This process helps neurotransmission and synapses work more quickly and helps with decision-making skills and increased self-discipline. During this time, the role of parent, caregiver, support system, guide, mentor starts to change into a more equal adult-friend relationship. These connections with mature adults are fundamental to helping girls mature into competent young women. With my 18th birthday coming up and the prospect of graduation looming larger every day, while I was thinking about this project, I was also thinking about all the things in my life that were changing. As I've gotten older, the relationships with each of my role models has changed as well. Our connections and conversations have shifted from an adult-child relationship to a peer relationship that feels much more equal. But I wasn't ready to give up being the kid just yet. Each of these women are examples of the kind of person I hope to be one day. So I wanted to spend time with them, listen to them, and see if they had any advice for me as I was nearing the end of high school and about to become an adult. I asked each of them if they'd be willing to spend a week with me. I spent 2 weeks with my maternal grandmother, Phoebe, over spring break, and I was in awe of her the entire time. She is selfless, thoughtful, and generous. There wasn't a moment where she wasn't doing something to make other people happy. When we finally got the chance to sit down and talk together, we talked about everything from her childhood to becoming a grandparent. She told me that the values she'd like to see in all of her grandkids are to be caring people, to be nice to others, to be thoughtful, and to be generous. Funnily enough, these were all of the traits that I admire in her and that she embodies herself. And let me tell you, if any of us grandkids are lucky enough to have these qualities, it's in great part thanks to her constant example of them. The most effective kind of female mentors or role models are ones that a girl can relate to on a basic level. If a girl can see herself in a mentor, she will be able to imagine herself following in the footsteps of that person someday in the future. One of the most effective ways to inspire girls is by providing them with positive examples from someone they can relate to. By showing, instead of telling, the principles they believe in, mentors can give girls an example for ways in which to navigate emotional decisions and phases of life. A few weeks later, I left to spend a week with Stephanie, my fairy godmother. Our relationship is different because she isn't a member of my family. She's been one of my greatest mentors, but we don't get to see each other as often. This makes the time we do spend together much more intense. When I visit her or we travel together, we'll spend every day together for a week. Stephanie provides the experiences and perspectives outside of my family structure and acts as an external support system. Studies show that mentors outside of the family can help girls celebrate what's great about their current environment while also guiding them into the unfamiliar new territory beyond the world of childhood. Girls and adolescents are between two worlds, childhood and adulthood. Mentors outside of the family can help guide them through the difficult moments and make the transition much smoother by helping them understand feelings of vulnerability. When I interviewed Stephanie, we discussed how unique our relationship is. Not only does she bring a sense of wonder and adventure to my life, I bring things to her life as well. Together, we get to be spontaneous and do things we wouldn't normally do. When I asked her if she had any advice for me as I entered a new phase of my life, she told me to trust my instincts. I think this really sums up what Stephanie brings into my life. She takes me out of my comfort zone and gives me new experiences. She's one of the most generous and thoughtful people I know, and she inspires me to embody those qualities as well. Having a mentor outside of the family can be a vital part of a successful support system during adolescence. These mentors, whether it's a coach, a teacher, or a family friend, can work with parents to make girls feel supported and loved. The future of femininity, no matter our age or era, has always lain in the culture's commitment to providing girls and women with secure webs of interrelationship, bonding, and attachment. By providing those necessary support systems, we can raise women who believe in themselves and their abilities and who are more likely to thrive in academic, social, and professional settings. A key member of my support system is my grandmother, Moo. For our time together, we were supposed to go visit the places where she grew up, but unfortunately, due to unplanned circumstances, we had to postpone at the last minute. Instead, we spent the time together here, and it ended up being amazing. This represents Moo perfectly. She is the strongest and most resilient person I know. She rolls with the punches and makes the most out of every situation. When I asked her if she had any advice for me, she told me to never close a door. I've thought about that quite a few times since our conversation, never close a door. I think that might just be the perfect way to look at this entire project. Not only this project, but this year. What I wanted the entire time was to be able to show my appreciation for the life I've lived so far, to be able to thank and spend time with all the people who mean the most to me, but I don't want this to be moving on. I'm not closing this door, just opening another one. For the final part of my project, I spent time with my mom. We took our family photo albums from when I was younger and looked through my life from 2001 through 2019. To do this last ended up being the perfect culmination of my project. It was emotional and nostalgic for both of us, but to spend time together reflecting was especially meaningful while thinking about the changes coming in both of our lives. My mom is my most constant role model. She's created a life for me with so many wonderful role models in it. She sets an example of what it means to be a confident, brilliant, funny, beautiful woman. She stands up for what she believes in and has taught me to do the same. She always encourages me to look at both sides of the story, and she's always on my side in the end. She represents love, loyalty, and dedication in my life. These conversations that I had with each of my mentors made the time we spent together feel more intentional. It's not often that you get to sit down with people in your life and have a conversation about your relationship and what it means to each of you. In doing so, it made me feel closer to them and connected to each part of my life in a different way. In my life, I have been lucky enough to be surrounded by wonderful role models and mentors who have helped guide me through my adolescence and given me reliable systems of support. I knew it was time for me to give something back to each of my mentors. I've made a book and written each of them a letter to thank them for the influence they've had on me during my childhood. Throughout adolescence, girls will face challenges and changes different from everything they've experienced before. It's crucial that they're provided with the necessary systems and people to help guide them through those years of vulnerability. Having real-life, positive female role models and unwavering support systems will help them navigate their adolescence and strengthen their sense of self. Mentors provide examples and share their experiences. It's been proven that girls are more likely to believe they can do something if they see someone else they can compare themselves to doing it as well. Female role models and mentors can help girls appreciate their own worth and give them goals for the future. Having multiple role models and mentors can give girls a deeply ingrained sense of belonging and confidence in their own abilities. If we can ensure that girls have female role models in their lives, both inside and outside of their families, we will be giving them an enormous gift. It is the mothers, grandmothers, sisters, coaches, teachers, and fairy godmothers who girls look up to for guidance, both consciously and unconsciously, who ultimately shape them into the women they become. These are the people who teach them how to be confident and kind, who encourage them to find things that interest them, and who are there with them through both the good and the bad. So now here I am, much closer to the end. I wouldn't say I feel completely ready for the next step, but I feel more prepared. This project gave me a chance to connect to the people in my life who mean the most to me and an opportunity to reflect on my life up until this point. The advice given and the moments shared with each of my mentors are things that I will carry with me forever. Looking at this project through the lens of human ecology gave me the opportunity to truly understand the importance of human connection and sense of self. In short, my takeaway is simple. Take time to talk to the people you love, have meaningful conversations, ask them the questions you've always wanted to. If we can encourage connections with real-life role models, we'll be setting girls up for a happy and successful adolescence. Thank you. Any questions? Larry? Yes.
Beautiful, thank you. Who are some of the folks outside your family that inspire you or move you as mentors or role models?
Well, Stephanie is my key mentor outside of my family, as I talked about. But I think that on a different level, there are female mentors and role models, like so many in the audience today, teachers that I've had, and people who I've known throughout my life as well. So I think those can be like small roles in your life and big ones as well. Heather?
After studying the mentors and how effect they've had on you, has that made you self-reflect on how you can become a mentor to your peers and those younger and even those older than you?
Yes. I think that Chris asked me this question too. But I think that each of these women possess these qualities that I really hope to possess myself one day. So I think that just trying to be the best version of yourself and setting those examples for other people, and you know, like, I think that'll happen naturally, I guess. John.
Georgia, what are the greatest influences your father has instilled in you?
Both of my parents, they tell me they love me every single day. But my dad is an example of hard work and dedication as well. And I have plenty of role models who aren't females, but for my project, I wanted to focus on that just because I think that for girls during adolescence specifically is really, really key. Maggie?
You talked about the shifting relationship from mentor to more of a peer relationship, and it's amazing to hear you reflect on that now. And it sounds, you could make it sound like it's a smooth transition, but I think there could be some rough spots. And then, as teachers, I'm wondering if you can reflect back and give the people in the audience who are trying to be mentored advice on if things get rough in that relationship during adolescence. Do you have any advice to give?
And I think, in my opinion, that's why it's so important to have multiple role models and mentors. And that's really where the mentors outside of the family structure come into play. Because those people, during those times when it's like a little bit rough, can offer the different perspective and experience that you don't, or that you know of your parents already. So those people, teachers, coaches, family friends, friends of parents, that's when those people can be really crucial. Does that answer your question? Okay. Emma, yes.
I love what you were saying about have meaningful conversations, and I'm wondering how you prepared for those conversations in a, because obviously all these people are people that you have conversations with all the time, but what was the process of saying, like, okay, here's what I really want to get from this grandmother or this conversation with my mother? How did you go about preparing for those?
Yeah, so I identified like the qualities that I admired in each of them beforehand. So the conversations were a little bit directed in that sense, but I kind of had an idea of like the questions I wanted to ask them about who their role models were, the things that they value themselves, if they had any advice for me.
First of all, thank you, and I want to honor the fact that your topic is specifically female mentorship, and ask this question as a male teacher of female students, as a father of 2 daughters. Are there ways that I personally can support or facilitate the creation of those role models, or is my job to kind of stay out of the way? I mean, how can I be no, seriously, like, how can I be an ally? Is it like go away, or how can you help?
I think that those relationships can't be structured, and they can't necessarily be forced. I think that the most important part of having a really meaningful mentor role model is being able to connect to them and see parts of yourself in them or things that you want to have in them. So I think that those relationships kind of happen naturally, and the people you look up to naturally. And I think that just allowing the space for those to happen, like having those people in your life, in your children's lives, and not forcing them to create some huge connection, but giving them the chance to, I think.
I'm wondering if you see any value in maybe not mentors, but role models who girls growing up maybe don't have a personal relationship with, but are someone that who is visible and they can see as a potential future for themselves. Like, I don't know. I'm just curious if that kind of fits into the landscape of what you're talking about.
Absolutely. I think that's definitely crucial, but I think that having real life role models is more crucial, because I think that those are the people who can set an example of what real life is, if that makes sense. So they're not this shining star that you're looking up to. It's important to have those people too, but to have the people who demonstrate that life isn't always easy, and then the ways to navigate that. And I think that's really important to have during adolescence.